Okay, so have you ever felt like a total fraud?
Like, even when you're crushing it.
Yeah. Like you've got the awards and everyone's saying you're
But
amazing.
you're just waiting for someone to call you out.
Totally. Like, ha, we figured it out. You're not actually that good.
Well, that, my friend, is the sneaky beast known as imposter syndrome.
And you'd think success would just squash that feeling, right?
Logically, yes.
But today we're doing a deep dive into why that feeling sticks around.
And more importantly,
Yeah, how to rewire our brains to break free.
it's amazing how success doesn't always silence the imposter syndrome.
Really?
It can sometimes actually make it worse.
Oh no, why? Why does that happen?
It all boils down to how our brains are wired.
So our brains are working against us.
In a way, yes. It's like this thing called confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias.
Our brains love to be right.
Don't we all?
So they're like detectives searching for clues.
To prove their case.
Exactly. So if your brain's theory is, I'm not good enough,
Oh.
it's going to find every tiny mistake
Every little slip up.
as proof. Even if you have a ton of successes, it ignores those.
It's like wearing those silly glasses with the different colored lenses.
Yes,
But our brain's only letting us see the imposter-colored world.
exactly. And then there's this little part of your brain called the amygdala.
The amygdala.
It's basically your brain's alarm system.
Our built-in panic button.
Always on the lookout for danger.
Eh.
Way back in the day, it was super useful.
For like dodging woolly mammoths and stuff.
Exactly. But now it freaks out over things like presentations or deadlines.
So our brain hasn't quite figured out that a typo isn't a life or death situation.
Right. And for people dealing with imposter syndrome,
It's even worse.
that alarm system is basically on high alert all the time.
So every little challenge feels like a major crisis.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
It's like your amygdala is set to super sensitive mode.
Oh no, so we're doomed then. Stuck with this prehistoric wiring.
Not at all. Here's the good news.
Tell me.
Our brains are incredibly adaptable.
So we can change.
Yes. We can actually rewire them.
Wait, hold on. Rewire our brains. How is that even possible?
It's called neuroplasticity. Your brain is constantly under construction.
Yeah, that is so cool.
We can actually remodel it.
So we're not stuck with our current wiring. I'm all ears. How do we start rewiring?
One powerful technique is called cognitive reappraisal.
Cognitive what now?
Reappraisal. It means reframing.
Reframing.
Instead of automatically believing that I'm a fraud story.
You consciously change the narrative.
Exactly. Think of it like swapping out those goofy glasses.
For a pair that gives you a clearer view.
Precisely.
So let's say I totally bomb a presentation.
Right.
Instead of thinking I'm a failure, everyone knows I'm a fraud.
Right.
I could try, okay, that wasn't my best work, but what can I learn from this?
You got it. You're basically telling your amygdala to chill out.
Take a break, little alarm system.
Exactly. And letting your prefrontal cortex
The rational part of the brain.
take the lead,
It's like training my brain to react differently to those scary feelings.
like taming a wild animal.
I like that analogy. What else can we do to tame that wild amygdala?
Mindfulness meditation.
Meditation.
Studies show that it can shrink the amygdala.
Really? Shrink it.
It calms down your brain's overreactions.
So it's not about emptying your mind completely.
No, it's about observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
So just letting them float by like clouds?
You got it.
That sounds way more doable than I thought.
It's a great tool for dealing with those imposter thoughts.
So we can actually manage that inner critic. This is fascinating. What else can we do to rewire those imposter pathways?
Okay, picture this. You're about to give a big presentation.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Instead of freaking out,
About all the ways it could go wrong.
right, instead of that, close your eyes and imagine yourself totally nailing it.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Feel that confidence, hear the applause.
Even smell the fresh coffee in the room.
Exactly. Engage all your senses.
Okay, so it's not just seeing yourself succeed.
No, it's about feeling it, hearing it, the whole experience.
That sounds amazing and way less stressful than my usual pre-presentation freakout.
It's called success visualization
Success visualization. So you're basically giving your brain a sneak peek.
of what success feels like.
And that makes it easier to actually achieve it.
Yes, it's like a dress rehearsal for your brain.
I love that. My brain getting ready for its close-up. This is all so insightful.
It's all about changing those thought patterns.
I can already feel my imposter syndrome shrinking a bit.
And don't forget the power of self-compassion.
Self-compassion.
Treating yourself with kindness, like you would a good friend.
That's the one I struggle with the most.
It's common, but it makes a huge difference.
I'm way harder on myself than I would ever be on anyone else.
Self-compassion can actually lower activity in the brain's self-criticism centers.
So instead of I'm not enough.
It's I'm human, making mistakes is okay.
Wow, that's a huge shift.
It's about being your own cheerleader.
Okay, I can see how that would help a lot.
It's a game changer.
Instead of beating myself up for every little slip up,
You offer yourself support.
yeah, like I would to a friend.
Exactly.
That's a big shift in perspective.
But it's so powerful. Think of it this way. Every time you practice self-compassion, it's like carving a new path in the forest.
Oh, I like that.
The more you walk that path, the clearer it becomes.
That's a great visual.
Hmm.
But it makes it clear this rewiring thing takes time.
Absolutely.
We're not going to undo years of negative self-talk overnight.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to start small.
Okay, small steps.
Trying to change everything at once.
Yeah, that's overwhelming.
It's like trying to climb Mount Everest in flip-flops.
So where do we start? What's a good base camp for tackling this imposter syndrome?
Pick one technique that resonates with you
Okay, just one.
and commit to practicing it for a week. Think of it as an experiment.
I like that, an experiment.
Let's say you choose cognitive reappraisal.
Reframing those thoughts.
Right, so the next time that imposter voice pops up.
You're not good enough. Everyone's going to find out.
Exactly. Pause and consciously reframe it.
So instead of, I'm going to mess this up and everyone will know I'm a fraud, I could try, okay, I'm feeling some nerves, but I've prepared well and I'm going to do my best.
Exactly.
It's about shifting from fear to a more balanced perspective.
And you might be surprised at how much of a difference that makes.
Just from that one little shift.
That's powerful stuff.
And what about mindfulness meditation? Any tips for someone who's never tried it before?
Start small, just a few minutes each day.
Okay, manageable.
Find a quiet spot, close your eyes,
And just breathe.
notice your breath. No need to control it, just observe it.
Let those thoughts float by like clouds.
Exactly. And when your mind wanders, gently guide it back to your breath.
Like a little mental workout.
There are also some great guided meditation apps out there.
I've heard of those.
They can be really helpful for beginners.
I'm definitely going to check those out. Now, success visualization.
Ah, yes. Engaging all your senses is key here.
More than just seeing yourself succeed.
Yes. Feel it, hear it, even smell it.
Okay, get really immersed.
Make it a full sensory experience.
So if I'm visualizing acing that job interview,
Okay, imagine it.
I could imagine the feeling of confidence as I answer questions, hear my voice clearly, even smell the fresh coffee brewing in the background.
Exactly.
Okay, so no more pre-interview jitters.
Right, you're replacing them with confidence and success.
It's like giving my brain a taste of victory.
The more real you can make it in your mind,
Yeah.
the more your brain will accept it as a possibility.
I'm liking this technique more and more. And then there's self-compassion.
That's a big one.
You know, it's funny how we're often our own worst critics.
It's so common.
I'd never speak to a friend the way I sometimes talk to myself.
It's about treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend.
I think we forget that sometimes.
Here's a powerful exercise.
Okay, tell me.
Talk to yourself as you would talk to a close friend.
I like that idea.
Would you berate your friend for making a mistake?
Absolutely not.
Or would you offer them support and encouragement?
Definitely support.
So the next time you catch yourself spiraling into self-criticism,
Okay.
pause and ask, what would I say to a friend in this situation?
I love that. Such a simple but profound shift.
It can really change your whole perspective.
So we've got cognitive reappraisal, mindfulness meditation, success visualization, and self-compassion.
4 powerful tools for rewiring our brains.
And kicking imposter syndrome to the curb.
Exactly.
It's a journey, though, right?
Absolutely. It's not a quick fix.
Some days will be easier than others.
Be kind to yourself. Celebrate the progress you make.
Progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And trust the process.
Speaking of progress, we've been talking about the individual experience here.
Yeah.
But what about society? Does society play a role in these feelings of inadequacy?
Absolutely. It's not just about individual mindset.
It's the environment we live in, too.
Think about the messages we're constantly bombarded with. Do more, be more, achieve more.
It's exhausting.
It's like a never-ending treadmill of striving.
And we're always falling short.
Exactly, no matter how much we accomplish.
It's like there's this invisible yardstick we're constantly being measured against.
And it's not a fair measurement for anyone.
And this pressure to achieve.
It can be even more intense for people from marginalized groups.
Right. They face additional barriers and biases.
It's important to acknowledge those systemic factors.
They definitely contribute to imposter syndrome.
So it's not just about changing individual mindsets.
It's about creating a more equitable and inclusive society.
That supports the success of all individuals.
So everyone feels empowered to pursue their goals and reach their full potential.
Exactly, regardless of their background.
It's about recognizing that everyone has something valuable to contribute.
Yes. And that success doesn't have a single definition.
I love that.
We need to challenge those societal norms.
Advocate for greater equity and inclusion.
Create an environment where everyone feels seen, valued, and capable.
This is such an important conversation. I'm so glad we're having it.
Me too.
It's clear that overcoming imposter syndrome,
Requires both individual effort and systemic change
it's about individual empowerment and collective action working together.
to create a world where everyone feels like they belong.
And where imposter syndrome fades away.
Exactly. A world where everyone feels seen, valued, and capable of achieving their dreams.
So we've talked about rewiring our brains.
Those techniques.
Yeah, but how does imposter syndrome actually show up in different parts of life?
It's like a master of disguise.
Changing its outfit depending on the situation.
Exactly. Like at work, it might look like procrastination.
Or over-preparing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spending way too much time on things
Because you're terrified of making a mistake.
and having everyone think, aha, knew it, a fraud.
Totally. I've been there.
That perfectionism can actually backfire, though.
Really?
You burn yourself out, miss deadlines.
So what's a better approach?
Focus on progress, not perfection.
Okay, I like that.
Set realistic goals.
Break things down into smaller steps.
Exactly. And celebrate those wins along the way,
So like a high five for each step forward?
instead of waiting for the finish line.
Makes sense. What about relationships? How does imposter syndrome mess with those?
It whispers those nasty thoughts.
Yeah.
They wouldn't love you if they really knew you.
Oof. Yeah. That's a tough one.
Leads to people-pleasing, fear of being vulnerable,
Like building walls to protect yourself?
but then you end up feeling isolated.
Exactly.
True intimacy comes from being seen for who you really are.
Flaws and all.
So self-acceptance is key here.
And open communication.
Tell your partner those insecurities.
It's scary, but worth it.
The right people will love you for who you are.
Absolutely. What about creativity?
Ah, yes, that's a big one.
Putting your work out there is so vulnerable.
The fear of judgment can be paralyzing,
For sure.
but remember, art is subjective.
There's no right or wrong way to express yourself.
Focus on the joy of creating.
Not on what other people think.
Exactly. Create for yourself first and foremost.
This has been so eye-opening. Any final thoughts for our listeners battling imposter syndrome?
You are not alone. It's incredibly common.
Especially among high achievers.
Doesn't mean you're not good enough.
Or that you don't deserve success.
You have the power to challenge those negative thoughts.
And cultivate real confidence.
Self-belief is key.
So well said.
Yeah.
Progress, not perfection, right?
Exactly. Be kind to yourself. Trust the journey.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into imposter syndrome.
My pleasure.
And to all our listeners, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep shining your light. Until next time.